What's up, Taiwan? I'm Andrew Ryan, and today we're headed out for a trip around Taiwan for a look at some of our favorite reports we shot this year on the road. When we launched 4 months ago, our reporters hit the ground running, traversing the nation in search of great stories. And we're going to travel to some of those places in today's show. We start our journey in Taipei, where there are people living in the shadow of a volcano. Next, we head to Chiayi, where we captured footage of a newly outfitted fighter jet in action. And then it's off to Galshong for the launch of a strange new landmark dedicated to music. We're going to fly to the outlying islands of Penghu for a beach cleanup like no other. And then a visit to the rice fields of Taitung for a breathtaking modern dance performance by Cloudgate Dance Theater. And finally, our journey concludes in Hualien, where indigenous kids are learning baseball tricks from their heroes. We begin today right here in our backyard, Taipei. Some residents in the northern part of the city got a shock this year when they found out that the magma chamber in the volcanoes right behind their homes is bigger and closer to the surface than previously thought. Rick Glowert went to Beito to find out how they're responding to the new threat.
我是土生土长，然后我不会觉得说什么会害怕或者是干嘛，因为从以前是听说就是它是一个休火山，它是最近才知道说哦，原来它是一个活火山。
A popular tourist destination, Beito is famous for its Japanese heritage, its mountains and hiking trails, but is especially known for its hot springs and thermal baths. The Dowton Volcano Group, just 10 kilometers from the city centre, is home to fumaroles, sulfur pits and other geothermal activity, but was long believed to be dormant. But in 2019, the government reclassified the volcano group as active. Scientists at the Taiwan Volcano Observatory revealed the volcano's magma chamber is just 8 kilometers below the surface, much closer than was previously thought. Researcher Yajun Lai and her team have recently stepped up efforts to monitor the area. They record seismic activity, measure fumarole temperatures, and test the gases emitted by the volcano as they try to predict when and where they might erupt.
We move on now to Chiayi Air Force Base in central Taiwan. Now, this year, Taiwan became the first country in the world to make the F-16Vs combat ready. We sent a video crew down there to capture the fighter jet in action. And fortunately, our videographer used to shoot sporting events, so he has quick enough reflexes to catch the shot. Jaime Okan reports.
These F-16Vs, or the F-16 Viper variant, were showcased in a ceremony at Chiayi Air Force Base on Thursday. The fighter jets were upgraded in cooperation with the U.S., and it was a point that Taiwan President Tsai Ing-wen highlighted in her speech.
这是台美双方的国防工业合作，不仅是台美友谊的再进展，更代表台美伙伴关系的坚定承诺。
Even though the United States and its allies have called for support of Taiwan if China were to use force, Taiwan understands that this is not a promise, and that ultimately the island's fate rests in its own hands. Cameron Xu and Jaime Okan for TaiwanPlus.
Our next destination today looks like something out of a science fiction movie, but it's actually the Galshong Music Center. I went down there for one of the opening performances, and I was lucky enough to go backstage to see the Puyuma musicians inviting their ancestors to join them for the show. At nightfall, the center springs to life, awash in colorful lights. And at the center's biggest outdoor venue, Seabreeze Plaza, they've invited some of Taiwan's best-known indigenous musicians from a village called Puyuma in eastern Taiwan. Backstage, before the show begins, the performers and crews stand in a circle, and one of the singers, Baldur, leads them in a ritual to invite the ancestors to join them. He dabs his finger in rice wine and sprinkles it to the ground as an offering. For the Puyuma people, there's a deep connection between music and their ancestors. They tell me that there are many departed family members watching over them during the performance. For many people in the audience, it's also a special evening. It's their first time venturing out in such a large crowd since the pandemic began. And the atmosphere is electric. We're going to fly to an outlying island for this next piece about marine waste. So where do you think your garbage ends up? Well, spoiler alert, it might be on the other side of the planet, perhaps in Penghu. Reporter Louise Watt went there to join some school kids on a unique and eye-opening beach cleanup.
The plastic bottles from China and other countries around the world keep piling up on the shores of Penghu. These children have collected tens of thousands of pieces of waste that have washed up near their school. And unlike most beach cleanups, they know exactly where it comes from.
大多都是来自我们台湾跟中国大陆，有一些是比较远国家来的，就是觉得很肮脏，然后看到很不舒服，想要就是叫大家一起来帮忙捡垃圾。
They've learnt how to identify its origin through barcodes.
Taiwan, Japan.
The first three numbers are a country code. 480 means the company that made it is based in the Philippines, and 471 is for Taiwan.
The beautiful fields of Taitung County in southeastern Taiwan produce some of the best rice in the nation. They also provide a stunning backdrop for an annual festival in Chihshang. Rick Glauert was there this year to see a performance by one of the nation's premier modern dance companies, Cloudgate Dance Theater.
Taiwan's top modern dancers jump, prance, and sway in tandem with the sheaves of rice ready for harvest. For the audience, who have come from all over the country, it's a multi-sensory experience. The smell of the rice, the feel of the rain and wind, and the sound of dancers' bodies moving. Chihshang is most famous for its rice, with a reputation for being the tastiest in the country. And these fields of gold, backed by Taiwan's tallest peaks, also make it a top tourist destination. It's a quiet rural idyll, far from Taiwan's big cities and traditional cultural centres. At its heart, the festival is about celebrating and protecting this rural life while keeping it culturally connected to the country's big cities.
我本身就很喜欢大自然，那我也很相信说，人的很多能量跟很多事情是可以从接触自然所得到，所以保护这些花草树木、天空其实是很重要的。
Damon Lin and Rick Glauert for TaiwanPlus.
And finally today, we arrive in Hualien, where every year indigenous kids from across Taiwan come together for a special baseball tournament called the Care Cup. Bing Wang traveled to eastern Taiwan to give us an inside look at how baseball is an integral part of life in indigenous communities.
Welcome to a very chilly day 3 of the Care Cup tournament, and today we're going to take a very special look at one of the very special events here at the tournament, the baseball classrooms. Now many professional baseball players will hold training camps after the games so the young players can learn more from them and to learn more about baseball skills and to ask them about life advice in general. Let's take a closer look.
接球，不要动，往前，往前啊，往前，往前，接球，接球。
为什么你会喜欢打棒球？
为什么会喜欢打棒球？
因为
棒球可以改变我的人生。真的，我没有在变呐。
And as you can see, the kids love it because they not only get to meet the idols and ask them questions, but they also get to pick up some tricks along the way. Now, many of the professional baseball players, they played in the Care Cup when they were younger, and they were in the exact same position 10 to 15 years ago. And someday, these kids will be in the same position and the cycle will continue.
Thank you so much for joining me for this trip around Taiwan. I'm Andrew Ryan. Now, we're also glad that you've joined us for the beginning of our journey here at TaiwanPlus, and we're looking forward to bringing you many more adventures in the coming year. Now, remember to download the TaiwanPlus app and stay tuned all this week as we celebrate some of our favorite moments of 2021. Take care.